care. But like that again, they're not receiving it. It's monetised. The state stands back, puts its hands up and says there's nothing we can do, and we're not legally obliged to do anything. So that really, it's just tokenistic in this referendum. It's ineffective. We'd oppose it at every turn. The wording is shocking. You need to do more than just strive to support your citizens. You need to actually support them. And we would be advocating that the reworded amendment be changed, and our particular, the wording that People for Profit is proposing, that should be inserted. The state has to fulfil its obligations to its people. It's most, and I hate using this word vulnerable, but it's the truth. The most vulnerable in our society have to be looked after. Currently they're not, and this won't change it in any way. What it will do is just push it out. And what will it be? Another referendum in 10, 15 years' time to say, you know, we're really failing, we have to do something about that. So that's how we would feel on this particular.
Thank you very much. Hazel, Councillor Hazel tonight.
Yeah, thanks very much. And as Breed said, we will be calling for the removal of the special status of marriage within the Constitution. I think it's been identified very clearly over numerous years that the family structure isn't just wrapped around what we would consider marriage. If you're looking at lone parents, or it could be cohabiting, or it could be family members stepping in to take care of children as well under guardianship. And being a lone parent at one point, cohabiting at one point, and now being married, I can contribute to all of those factors to say that Ireland has moved on, part of a blended family as well, and to kind of just identify that marriage no longer justifies the structure of a family, but still leaving it in there is kind of contradicting the points that have been made over the numerous years. There is no doubt that the stigma still hangs around in Ireland for lone parents, and the difficulties that they face still remain in the highest risk of poverty. So I think there's far more that we should be focusing on doing, rather than kind of constantly leaving the structures behind, the archaic structures behind, to limit groups of families in Ireland. I just want to kind of touch on as well to say that I think it's really important that we do move in the right direction, although we do find difficulties with the amendments that have been put forward by government, and we are making suggestions. We will be supporting a yes vote because we do need to begin to make that change. I'm concerned with how the government is going to come out and communicate with communities around this. I've had an awful lot of people in my own constituency who have been sent messages, misleading messages from other groups in society, saying that this move is going to be a regressive move on women, and going to be looking at different genders and different kind of misleading information that's coming across. And I'm concerned that the government isn't going to do enough to explain what exactly the referendum is, what change the constitution is, and coming back to basis and around this. And I don't want it to be left with people being uncertain on what they're voting for and just voting no. So I think not alone are we pushing for amendments within what's been put forward by government, but also calling on them to start a open and broad discussion within communities and make sure we're bringing everybody ahead with us. It's far too important for people to be left behind on this discussion.
Thanks, Hazel. Catherine, would you like to come up and join us and say a few words on behalf of family carers?
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thanks very much. I'm very, very late. Yeah, look, I suppose to echo particularly what Bernard has said, the family carer. I've worked with family carers Ireland for over 20 years. We see every day the challenges, the struggles family carers face. They continuously tell us, and we know they go unrecognised, they go undervalued, they go under-supported. For us, and just to say as well, we have also been pushing very firmly for stronger wording. Would have loved to see oblige the state, absolutely. Would love to see shall support family carers. But I suppose we are where we are today, so as an organisation we will be supporting a yes, and I'll tell you why. Because as it stands today, there's nothing in the Constitution that either recognises or values family carers. And as it stands today, they remain invisible. And we did go out to our carers when the wording came through, and you know, after that disappointment ourselves and others, we went out and we said to carers, what would this mean to you? And many came back saying we would now be visible, we would feel that at least there is a value on the work that we do. And I think really important for us as an organisation that continue to lobby for family carers, We see this as a platform and a foundation for us to lobby for better supports for family carers. Yes, the government may not be obliged, even though I did have a discussion with Minister O'Gorman where he said this will put an onus on the government to support family care. We will test that, no doubt, through the courts over the coming years. But what I can say today is Family Carers Ireland, we will be looking for a yes vote for a number of reasons. We want to remove the outdated, archaic language around a woman's place in the home. We want to see the definition of family broadened beyond that of the marital family. But for us, 42B gives us the platform and the foundation to lobby and to really push government for improvements, for positive change for family carers. And as I said, at the moment we have nothing in our constitution that allows us to do that. So we see this as doing that, and that's why we will be pushing. But I guarantee you we will continue to fight really, really hard. And something Bernard said, this country, we should have a shared responsibility for caring. It should be the family where they choose to do it, but they cannot do it on their own. And our motto is no one should have to care alone. The state needs to take up their responsibility to properly resource and properly fund care in the home or care in the community, if that's where somebody should be able to choose where they live. A person with a disability choose where they live, and they should be supported to do that, whether it's the home, the community, or indeed in a nursing home. And we don't have that in this country, and we need to see care in the home, care in the community valued, but really important, properly supported. So.
Thanks very much, Catherine. Is there any questions? Yeah.
Bernard, first, just on the wording, so particularly around the notion of striving as opposed to creating an obligation, do you feel, as a carer, as a political activist, do you feel that'll make any difference whatsoever on the ground, the government's wording? And if not, why ultimately would PVP be calling for a yes if there's no changes, if the amendments aren't accepted? And then, Bree, just in the round, you've said that you will vote yes, even if the amendments aren't accepted. But you sat here and you kind of ripped the wording as it stands to shreds. Is there a risk here of muddying the waters for voters who may be just receiving a lot of conflicting kind of messages and may not ultimately kind of know where to put the vote?
Well, I think at the end of the day, when we do say, as Catherine has said there, we will be calling for a yes, I think that it behoves us to clarify that, and that's what we're trying to do here today. And we will be doing it in the communities, wherever there's meetings, wherever we're called upon to do. But I think it's important to be able to criticise what we've got in front of us. And what we've got in front of us falls well short. And this is my main point. We sat down, Citizens Assembly sat down for months on end, and then the Oireachtas Committee sat down, and we made recommendations, well thought out ones to the government, and this falls well short. And I think we should be critical of the government, and at the same time, put very well here by Catherine and by the National Women's Council, this is a foundation on which we have to build on and campaign for, but people feel that they're being heard. Now, that's a positive view of what's not a great piece of constitutional change. But we do not want to see this defeated, because weak and all as it is, it would be a retrograde step for the country to reject it. So we are going to passionately ask people to vote yes and yes. And then before that, we passionately go in there today and try and get the changes that are required. And we're not the only ones. I mean, all the other opposition parties are putting similar kind of amendments to make this stronger and better.
Well, we're in a unique position in that we can say what we think and how we feel. I really appreciate what Catherine is saying at Family Care and our fantastic organisation. But as a carer, and we've built a very strong following within the Access for All. We've built a really, really strong campaign. We have the voice of carers, people with disabilities, healthcare professionals often engage with us. And listen, the honesty about the whole lot is that family carers are just left consistently to struggle all the time in Irish society. It's lauded upon us how wonderful we are and how brilliant we are and how fantastic we are and all this, but I mean at the end of the day that doesn't put food on the table, it doesn't pay the heating. So many people are struggling all the time, and we've no way of coming back at the state and saying you're failing us, what are you going to do about it? And so by just popping in these little words, like, I mean, it might seem, you know, it's just a word, but the state is able to use that to just stand back and say, look, you know, we're trying. It's like the ratification of the UN Convention on the Rights of People, which is the optional protocol. We leave that out. Why did you leave that out? Well, you see, if we put that in, you're going to start hitting us with legal actions, and we're going to be held accountable for our failings to you. And family carers do so much. Every year we see the headlines. Family carers say 15 to 20 billion a year in the state, but yet, as I said 2 weeks ago, you know, our poverty is increasing all the time. So while, you know, Family Carers Ireland it's a very important organisation, they offer support and resources to people, the state really needs to step up now. And like, with the wording that's there, I feel personally, and again this is my personal opinion, is that it'll go through and we'll spend the next 10 years looking for the proper supports, the proper resources that we need just as people to get by. Again, I don't really want to dwell on this, but I'll pull back to when the PUP was announced that time, €350, the minimum needed to survive in Ireland. The very next day, Access for All, we were all over that saying, right, this is the minimum needed to survive, carers get 220 a week. So now we're €130 below the minimum needed to survive. And it plays out in all the data. It plays out everywhere. The ERSI are constantly saying it in a very, very, they try to do it in as kind a way to the government as possible, in that, you know, well, you know, the poverty has increased again and things aren't going in the right direction, that the cohort and the group in Irish society who have been failed consistently, you need to try harder. But they do it in a very gentle, apolitical way, which is fine, but the fact of the matter is that's what's happening. This only sort of cements how we feel that the state views us, in that, you know, it's, you know, you're doing a great job, guys, you know, we really appreciate it, sorry you're in poverty, it's going to cost too much, it's not, we're not going to fix that.
Where are you going to vote yes then?
Like what?
Are you going to vote yes?
I mightn't. Yeah, but that's me now as an individual. Okay, that's an Access for All. We've asked a lot of our followers to feed in and to send us what they feel about it. That's the underlying. Again, that's always the underlying message that we get back from people, and we're just talking ordinary people now. No politics involved in this. Just that I feel I'm constantly treading water. I'm only a week away from out the front door. My child can't get the supports and the interventions they need. We're fighting an uphill struggle. We have to go to private therapies. We have to do this, that and the other. I mean, I
think it's important as well to say that the government have deliberately put the question of removing woman's place in the home into a clause that then is replaced with the limited care. So they should have decoupled these things, and that's what we argued for in the Oireachtas and at the committee. Decouple them, just delete the offensive bit about a woman's place being in the home. A woman's place should be wherever she wants it to be, but decouple it from the question of care. But they have deliberately linked them. So if you vote no, as Bernard says he might, and I talked to him about it after, then you're accepting that we leave in a woman's places in the home, and that's the problem. They did not decouple, and deliberately did not decouple these things. So, do you want to ask Catherine any questions, anybody? And yourself?
I'll probably just do one after.
Okay,
That's all right.
We're today now because we have the plinth and stuff to do. So.